Hello, my name is Christine Parisi, and this is FSU Mountain View. On today's show, we'll be discussing causes and activism in the Frostburg area. We will be discussing the Allegheny County Animal Shelter and how the Frostburg Food Pantry is helping those during the holiday season. We will also hear about a great opportunity to honor a fallen Frostburg State student. First, we'll take a look at the Allegheny County Animal Shelter and the great impact it is having on forgotten animals. We recently visited the shelter and learned a little bit more about it and how we as a community can help.
For most people, animals are considered members of the family. They've been with us for as long as we can remember and are often our most faithful companions. Unfortunately, there are times when it is difficult to provide a home for our furry friends. Organizations such as the Allegheny County Animal Shelter, which is based in Cumberland, have taken to the task of finding suitable homes and owners for many lost or abandoned animals. We got the chance to discuss the intentions and goals of the shelter with volunteer Tina Rafferty.
We have a foster program, the volunteer program. We work with a number of rescues to help move our animals out of the shelter and into rescues both locally and out of the area.
What can you tell me about the foster program?
Sure, the foster program is very flexible. We have some individuals who will take a shelter animal home, have it live in the home with them and foster until it's adopted. We have fosters who will take an animal from the vet that just needs a foster home until it's recuperated and then ready for adoption. They may return it to the shelter at that time.
How many animals are housed in the shelter?
Right now we have approximately 100 dogs and probably between 200 and 225 cats and kittens. Wow. That's to include litters of kittens with the mama cat. We're still in the midst of what we like to call kitten season.
Volunteers are devoted to helping animals in need, but the task does not come without its challenges.
You know, you have other animals that need to come into the shelter. We have animals that need vet care, that need to recuperate in foster homes, so it's a juggling act.
In addition to volunteer work, what are some ways people can help the shelter?
Well, I think people in general, first and foremost, as responsible pet owners, spay neuter. That is so important because that is what's going to stop the number of animals coming into our shelter as well as, you know, shelters across the country. Spay neuter your animals. If you're not comfortable being in the shelter to volunteer, you can help us with events, help post our animals online, share our animals on Facebook, social media sites. You know, the more you can get that message out, get those pictures circulated, the greater chance that we're going to find these animals homes.
Rafferty assures us that there are many ways for people to aid the shelter, but one thing is certain no matter what.
We rely on volunteers for all those things.
To learn more about the Allegheny County Animal Shelter, or if you're interested in volunteering, you can explore the shelter's website at www.ashelterofhope.com. You can also visit the shelter located on 716 Furnace Street in Cumberland, or contact them via telephone. The Allegheny County Animal Shelter intends not only to raise awareness of animals in need, but to also raise hope.
Now joined today by someone who actually adopted a kitten from the animal shelter recently. I have Jonathan Shepard in the studio today who brought his kitten in as well. Welcome to the studio, John.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and I see that you have actually brought your cat with you today that you adopted. And you can go ahead and probably bring him up on you.
Right.
He looks pretty anxious to get out. So what is your kitten's name?
His name is Flash, and he's a little orange tabby.
And when did you adopt him?
A few months ago, around 2-3, in July.
Oh, Flash. He looks like he wants to come out. Do you think that he'll stay on the table if we bring him out?
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. There you go, buddy.
So why did you choose the name Flash?
Well, he's an orange tabby. I thought his stripes just remind me of the character Flash, and he's very quick, and he's a lot of fun, so.
Oh. Now, tell me a little bit about the adopting process itself. Is it difficult? I have never been down there, so.
It can be a little difficult. It all depends on your landlord with living around the school, and if he allows it, then you can get a cat. You just go to the animal shelter, fill out the paperwork.
Yeah.
You just have to have your driver's license, ID, and you're good to go.
And how did you find out about the shelter?
Through my girlfriend. My girlfriend worked volunteering with the animal shelter for around a year or two. So
Okay, I know that they said right now they have a lot of cats, so maybe we can spread the word and get some people to go down there and buy kittens just like Flash.
Right. This guy's a great guy. He's
Yeah, I have to
lovable.
say he's doing pretty well on TV today, too.
He's liking the treats a lot.
Do you think that you'll go back, John, and get another animal, or?
Who knows? Most likely, probably. I think so. I really like cats. I like all animals, so maybe a dog next time.
Oh, well, thank
Maybe
you
another
so
cat.
much.
Yep.
It's been great having both of you here today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in and tell us about your story in the animal shelter and how we can adopt a friend of our own. After the break, we will be discussing how the Frostburg Food Pantry is helping those in need and how we can honor the memory of a fallen Frostburg student. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism.
Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Welcome back to FSU Mountain View. We just found out how we can help animals in the Frostburg area find a loving home. Now we're going to switch gears and see how the local food pantry is helping those in need during the holiday season. We went to find out a little bit more about the pantry and steps we can take to give those less fortunate during the holiday season.
Frostburg is one of a few cities located in Allegheny County, Maryland. Frostburg falls within the Cumberland, Maryland, West Virginia metropolitan statistical area. Because Frostburg is one of the lowest income areas, the state has to create establishments like the Interfaith Food Pantry to help those families in need.
I am the director of the food pantry. In 1977, the unemployment rate tripled in this area, and a group of people got together and formed the Frostburg Pantry. I started in 2002, November, because the gentleman that was running the pantry got sick, and he could no longer do it, and he needed help. Well, he recruited me, and I come in and help him. It started at the museum over there on Hill Street. That's when the churches actually formed the food pantry. There was one church that was giving food out, but they got too big for them, and they brought it to the ministerium. The ministerium set up the guidelines, and we're still working under them guidelines. I've been a volunteer most of my life. I've volunteered for ambulance, I've volunteered for Red Cross, and when the gentleman got sick, we were real good friends, and when I come in, I saw the actual need, and it keeps me going, really. Because, I mean, it is a sometimes 40-hour-a-week job. I spend sometimes 40 hours a week. I have a helper by the name of Bob Duncan, and we're splitting now. But we got state grants, the paperwork's increased tremendously, the record keeping has increased, so it takes a good bit of my time just to keep the records up.
How often do people from the general public just come to donate food?
We count everything that comes in. So far, we're a little over 31,000 pounds of food that's come through the doors. Some of that's been bought by the money, government money, which we consider donated because the money comes to us. And yeah, we have a little brown box out there on that porch, and every morning we check it. It's usually, I show you in the book how many different areas. We have the KFC, we have all the churches, and people just drop it off. We don't know who it is. We also get a lot of donations from the general public to keep us going. We've had college students come in, and usually it's in October. They come in 2-hour shifts, and we usually run it from 8 in the morning till 5 at night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and the food collection's pretty good. We had a family come in that did not want to come, that they was embarrassed. And they had a little girl, I guess she was probably 4 or 5, crying. And we always had stuffed animals. We had a shelf, we kept them on, but I didn't get the shelf stocked. So she was crying. I said, young lady, who do you like? I like Barney. Oh, I don't know if I have one or not, but sure enough I did. And I'm telling you, you couldn't have bought anything better than this. Look on that little girl's face when she got Barney. She quit crying, she was hugging it, and thanked me I don't know how many times. That is one of the reasons I stay here.
What a great cause. It is always great to see people helping each other out, especially at this time of the year where things can be hectic and stressful. When we return, we'll be joined by a special guest who will talk to us about another great community cause. Please join us.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
We don't win unless we work together.
It's how we play our best.
It's how we survive on the field.
Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people
affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site
and forward the facts to everyone you know.
The more people who know,
the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're gonna be hanging out a little bit more.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Welcome back to FSU Mountain View. Now in the studio, I have another guest with me. Kyle Gambino is here to talk about I Swim for Bob, which is a great opportunity to honor fallen Frostburg State University student Bob Knorr. Thank you for coming today, Kyle.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So my first question for you is, who is Bob Knorr and what exactly is the purpose of I Swim for Bob Day?
Well, Bob Knorr is, or was, a Parks and Recreation student here at FSU. He was a beloved student. He was a very fun, energetic type of guy. And he unfortunately passed away in a whitewater kayaking accident his senior year here. And so I Swim for Bob is an event that we do. It's an annual event to raise money for a a scholarship fundraiser to promote one more Parks and Recreation student to come to FSU.
Wow. So how can students and the local community help to contribute to this cause?
Well, other than the obvious donation, the best way to contribute to I Swim for Bob is basically just word of mouth. You know, the more people that get a chance to know who Bob was and understand the program and what it's doing for the students here, just the better off the event will become.
Right. What type of events and activities go on during the event?
I'm glad you asked that. We do tons of different, basically just recreational type events. The big one is in the pool, obviously. Bob was a huge activist for aquatic type of activities. So there's a water polo, water volleyball, water basketball, just tons of different events in the pool. And then outside of the pool, if you're not someone who's into aquatics, we do laser tag in one of the rooms, 20-minute kickball. The rock climbing wall is now a part of the event. And just tons of other dodgeball, just anything that the students really want to do to just get out there and be active.
Great. How does one go about participating in the event and to help raise money for the scholarship?
Well, in the weeks leading up to the event, which will be at the end of March, we will have booths in lane to promote the event so students can pre-register and give donations. And then the day of the event, there's open registration as well. And it's just a $5 registration fee, and then you can donate whatever you want from there or just come and enjoy the event.
Well, thank you very much for filling us in on all of this.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Definitely a great cause. Thank you for coming in, as I said, and in this segment we have discussed the multiple ways that Frostburg students can give active and give back to their community. In the next segment, we will be discussing Frostburg Greek life and the impact local fires have had on the community. We will be back after a short break. Please stay tuned.
This is so cool, Dad. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
We don't win unless we work together. It's how we play our best.
It's how we survive on the field.
Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people.
Affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site
and forward the facts to everyone you know.
The more people who know,
the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're gonna be hanging out a little bit more.
Danse, balance, suis la cadence. On revient tes hanches au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence. Dans ma belle robe blanche, je suis ton chou.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.